What is going on, everybody? This is Yes, I Read That, and today I am reviewing Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. As you might hear from my voice, I'm a little bit ill, but it's okay because I'm very excited for this book today. This is another book set in Babylon, back-to-back Babylon books. But this is something very different than the last book we had, because this one is actually a fantasy and steampunk setting, which means we have guns, we have steam engines, we have airships, and it's a very, very unique book. I'm really happy that I read this book. It is about a teacher exploring the mystical Tower of Babel and immediately finding that the tower is nothing like what you heard about it. So I won't keep you waiting, let's talk about the story first and then I'll tell you what I thought about the book. Thomas Senlin is the head teacher of a small fisher village and he arrives at the Tower of Babel with his wife because they are on their honeymoon. As soon as they arrive there by train, they find a humongous market at the outskirts of the Tower of Babel. In these outskirts there are a lot of people and Senlin loses his wife almost immediately. It turns out the market is huge, very confusing, ever-changing and just all in all a bit bizarre. So when Senlin gets to the lost and found area, there are so many signs that you could waste your entire life just looking for the one your significant other left there. So because that is hopeless, Thomas Senlin decides he should scale the Tower of Babel and get to the third floor where he and his wife were supposed to spend their honeymoon in the baths. So the tower itself consists of these really bizarre ringdoms. Every ringdom is very different from the other ones and nobody really knows how many ringdoms there are. And the book Senlin Ascends, as the title says, literally describes Senlin ascending the Tower of Babel. During his trip, Senlin gets to know a lot of people and there's a big spotlight on the social aspect, mainly because almost everybody in the tower is a psychopath or just really selfish. I don't want to spoil too much in this book, but the adventure barely starts when Senlin actually enters the tower. In this book, he climbs a few ringdoms, but I don't want to talk too much about it. This book is only the first book in a series called The Books of Babel. I'm not sure how many books there are. I think 2 books are released right now and a third is in the works, but I'm not 100% sure how many there are. Maybe it's going to be a trilogy. So I don't want to spoil too much about the book. I think it's brilliant, so I'll talk about my likes and dislikes now. So first of all, my likes. I think the world in this book is really unique and it's really amazing. This huge Tower of Babel in a kind of steampunk world, and the way the world is structured is also that at the bottom of the Tower of Babel everything is kind of normal, but the higher you get, the more steam engines and airships and electricity at some point, although there was no real electricity right now, the more weird elements are incorporated into the tower. All in all, there's just so much weirdness and mystery in the Tower of Babel, and this is obviously subjective, but I really enjoy these mysterious and weird stories, and there's a lot of that in the Tower of Babel. So at first this book starts very gentle and in a setting that could be like another fantasy book, but as Senlin scales the tower and gets higher, there's this weird and dark undertone sneaking in and it's building up and building up until there's this dark and violent end in the book. And I think that was very unique and I really enjoyed that. On top of these things that I already really liked, there's amazing prose. Something I didn't really talk about is the characters. The main character is obviously Senlin, Thomas Senlin, and the people he gets to know while he scales the tower mainly. But the main focus is only on Senlin, and he's a very interesting character. He is the headmaster of a school, and he is a very rational guy. He's absolutely not violent. He is a very peaceful man, and well, he's basically the opposite of everybody else in the tower. I didn't fall in love with his character or really like him that much, but I think it's a very interesting protagonist and I definitely think he belongs to the likes and not to the dislikes, so I just wanted to say this. Alright, now let's get to the dislikes. The first problem I have with this book is that the pacing can get a little slow, and at some points there's not a lot of action going on. So if you're an action junkie, then maybe this book isn't for you, but I didn't find it very dramatic. You know, I usually like action a lot, and I thought this book was very good, even if it didn't have that much action. I think that might actually change in the second book. Obviously I didn't read it yet, but we'll see. I'm definitely gonna read the second book. Something else I noticed was that the story at some points was a bit predictable, which means there was like a foreshadowing of an event, and a few chapters later we got that actual event. So you could kind of guess sometimes where the story was going, or that something should be happening soon, which isn't really dramatic because it was only small points, but I don't know, I don't really like that. But it's not dramatic, and in the end some things really surprised me, so yeah. My score for this book is an 8 out of 10. The setting is really unique. I really enjoyed the prose of this book. We have an awesome adventure of Senlin climbing this tower, or, well, I shouldn't say climbing, Senlin ascending the Tower of Babel. So all in all, if you like fantasy, I can say that this book was a very interesting and unique book, and I can definitely recommend it to anybody who likes fantasy books. I think it's very good. So that concludes my review to Senlin Ascends. If you read the book, definitely tell me what you thought about it. Alright, if you liked this review, leave a like, maybe sub to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye!